Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
interesting.
I see people are filtering in now. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to give everyone about 30 seconds just to have the chance to log in and come out of the waiting room and then kick things off. I know we have about 15 people registered, so it should be a great event this afternoon. All right, I see a number of you have come in, so without penalizing the punctual, I will kick things off now and turn it over to our presenters. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Lunch and Learn webinar. My name is Shayna Furlong. I'm the president and CEO of the Richmond Chamber of Commerce. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge that the Richmond Chamber of Commerce operates on the traditional territory of the Musqueam First Nation. They have lived on this land for millennia, and we're very grateful we can gather virtually here today. I'd also like to acknowledge the territories that you are all joining us from across BC and Canada. So a couple of brief housekeeping items. Everybody is on mute except our presenters. So we are encouraging your questions though. You'll see that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So please reach out with your questions through that Q&A function, and our presenters will be able to attend to them within the session. If you run into any technical problems, anything you need to alert me or our presenters to, please feel free to use that chat function that is turned on for you. And now that our housekeeping is out of the way, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our facilitator and presenter today. Darian Kovacs is the founder of B Corp certified award-winning digital marketing and PR firm known as Jelly. He brings 15 years of marketing experience and a passion for education and creativity. He's the host of the podcast Marketing News Canada. He also specializes in mixing PR with digital marketing and has worked with numerous internationally renowned brands on developing and executing their digital marketing and PR strategies. Please join me virtually in giving a very warm welcome to Darian.
Hi, everyone. I was told recently, I told people about some of my hobbies I'm interested in, which is, I think the true should really be in people's bios, which is I love to watercolor and I love to grow dahlia flowers, which someone proceeded to say that you are just like my grandma. My grandma, that's my grandma's two hobbies. And I'm like, but if you ever get the chance, dahlia flowers, I did my first attempt at growing them this summer. They're beautiful. They're like little fireworks. And I have a little watercolor kit I take with me. And I when I come to sessions like this and I'm an attendee, I tend to draw on watercolor things because I find I can pay attention better. But I am so excited to jump into this because I think it's one of the coolest programs the federal government has ever done. And we want to make sure that you feel that you have access to the information and that you get your questions answered and that you can actually interact with people who are from this program. Because typically, government grants have been intimidating or far away or far off, or maybe not practical, or the applications seem really hard. And so I think during this session, hopefully you will be pleasantly surprised to learn more about the Canadian Digital Adoption Plan. So starting off with 3 keys to a successful plan, and this is kind of the why this program even exists. It's because people are discovering there's some things they want to do to their business so their business can grow, and they want to see their business become healthier. And really, why the feds are excited about it is they want to give Canadians that competitive advantage. So there's 3 questions I think we should all be asking ourselves as a business owner, or as maybe the person leading operating systems at the business. Question 1 being, what are the key processes that I need to help my business? I think especially in the last couple of years, we've had the chance to think a lot more thoroughly about how our business runs. And so it might be things like SOPs, so standard operating procedures for marketing data and language. How do you communicate each month to your stakeholders, customers, and potential customers? How do you find new customers who are out there? And what are the monthly actions I need to grow my business? Those are all things to be thinking about when you think of a digital adoption plan. And those could be covering things from digital marketing to maybe there's some IT things that you need in place. Maybe there is some systems and operating systems, whether it's a customer management system, whether it is a learning management system. These are all things that the government is really excited to come alongside you and upgrade your systems, your digital systems. Number 2 question asked is, what information would help me run my business better? So is it information that you can pull from Google Analytics? What are the social media stats telling you about your business? And what information could you pull from your competitors or companies who are leading the pack. One of the greatest things I love about these audits and kind of these deep dives is when you look at your competitors. And because we live in an age of digitalness, whether it's your competitor's website or their social channels or what they've done for PR, all of it is out there. It's very difficult to hide competitive advantages. It's very difficult to hide what they're doing, whether it's kind of their social strategy or their ad strategy. And that's one of the good things about privacy in Canada is that they have to make their ads open. And so you're able to study all those. And there's an old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And so if you practice that, or the idea of knowing thy enemy, you're able to get a ton of great information, which can then make your business better. In some cases, when we've done this, we've looked at 2 competitors who are local and one, someone they really admired, someone they look up to who is in Europe. And so we saw some of the things that they're doing and we're able to actually implement some of those practices into their business. Third question to be asking is, what technology should I be adopting this year? And soon enough, 2023. Whether it's the Google Analytics upgrade, if you haven't heard, June 2023, all of Google Analytics that you currently possibly have on your site will be obsolete. Google Analytics 4 is the big, huge update and upgrade. Facebook, Google, or Bing ads, SEO tools and adoption. So what are things you can do to get your site ranking higher? And again, it might be other things like an inventory management tool. It might be a IT security piece that you want to put in. All of these are things that you can be thinking about. And the feds want to say, hey, we want to give you time to think about it. We want to give you a strategy and a plan so you can stop, collaborate, and listen to what is needed in your organization. And then we want to find you a youth 18 to 30 to help implement it. And then we want to give you access to a loan, interest-free loan for 6 years to help make this come to life, which I think is one of the neatest things. And if you remember, especially you being in Richmond and what happened in BC when the province attempted those $15,000 website grants, that didn't go well because 2 things, I think, and I don't know if the federal government was intentional on learning from those mistakes, but the money typically went offshore to web companies that were outside of BC. And then secondly, most of the websites never got completed, or it actually set the businesses back because there was no strategy or plan in place before they built these sites. And so the government has done a really cool thing where, first of all, you have to do a strategy and a plan first before you can start doing things, which again, some people get frustrated. They're like, whoa, I want that money to just do things. I don't want to do a plan. But if you remember Dora, having a map is very important in your life. And so you get the chance to build a roadmap, come up with a plan, come up with a strategy, and almost in a sense, pause and think about what's needed because it's such a complicated world with the digital. And then let's start doing things. And then what the federal government has done is they've even vetted. So if you go to find a digital advisor, you don't just find someone kind of on the internet or kind of down the road. The federal government has audited and reviewed and found actual digital advisors who are very, very qualified. So there's about 1,000 of us in the marketplace that you can choose from. There is so many options, amazing options. And so again, I just think some of the cool things about this, because we can feel like this when we apply for these grants. We can feel like we're just clunking away and trying to do digital on our own, and it can become very overwhelming. But really, what I like about this program is that the government is making this easy. I feel like they actually listen to us, that they're actually looking for us. They're looking for you. They want to work with you as a business here in Richmond. And they want to show you the money. They want to get you funds and make it as easy and accessible as possible. And that's what we're going to dive into today. What does it look like for each person? So this is the official name of the program. I do not work for the government. I am not officially from the federal government, so I had to put this slide in here. I'm supposed to. It's important. This is my asterisk. So I am just explaining the program, and I brought on wonderful guests who I'm going to interview to talk about their perspective. And just for super clarity, you might have heard about this program, but just so you know, there's 2 different streams. Stream 1, which is also called Grow Your Business Online. That's where you can apply to BC Small Business. This is if your business's revenue, gross revenue, is $500,000 or less in the last 3 years. And as of a few weeks ago, you don't even need an employee, which is really exciting. So you can apply through BC Small Business if your business is kind of 500 grand or less. They will then give you a digital advisor who will kind of run an audit and review your organization, your company, and then you'll get $2,400 micro grant to implement some of that strategy. But if you are in an organization that at one point in the last 3 years had $500,000 or more gross revenue, you get the Boost Your Business program, which we'll put a link in the chat as well. And this is the program that we're going to talk about mostly today, which is the $15,000 to get a digital advisor. You are going to get a youth 18 to 30 from this amazing program called Magnet. And then thirdly, you're going to get a really, really cool interest-free loan for 6 years, depending on your business's revenue. So we're going to dig into that. This is the kind of the nuts and bolts of it. Ultimately, it's about $4 billion the feds have put in that will be distributed through those manners. But starting off, Alex, I'd like to welcome you to today's session.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Alex, why are you so excited about the CDAP program coming from your perspective, working for the federal government? Maybe explain.
Yes. So I work for CDAP. I am a comms and outreach lead at CDAP, and it's really exciting. Like you were kind of saying earlier, the feds are trying to give you money. It's really fun working for a program where we're basically just trying to get you money to be able to grow your business. And COVID-19, it really showed us that like the importance of having digital capabilities as a business, which I'm sure many of the people attending are very aware of and experienced like firsthand during the pandemic. And I think it's exciting to be part of a program that can not only help with like overall economic recovery in the country, but also it's going to take steps to help businesses, take steps to modernize and grow in ways that they never thought of. That's what our amazing advisors are for. And also, something I love about the program is that it casts a really wide net. It's not just businesses that we're supporting. We're also supporting young Canadians with the folks at Magnet who are here today through our funded work placement. And we can really facilitate that symbiotic relationship between, young up and coming professionals and businesses who need a little bit of expertise and some new life kind of breathed into their businesses.
It's amazing. So I want to talk about accessibility. Again, I have people who have applied for this program, and I'm going to put applied in brackets here, and have come back and said, I think I did it wrong. It was too easy. It took me 25 minutes, the length of a TV episode. Tell me about why you've done that and the thinking behind that process.
Yeah. So I think a really huge barrier a lot of the time between businesses and accessing government support are those long, complex applications that you have to fill out. And although a lot of the time they are necessary for, to receive funding, time is so important for small and medium-sized businesses, especially, and they don't always have the resources to spend hours applying for support. So we've really done our best as a program to make applying as easy as possible. And we've built in our digital needs assessment into our application. So not only are you applying for funding, you're getting sort of an idea of where your business is in the application in terms of like digitalization. So within our application, you're actually going to be able to identify your current digital needs and capabilities, define your digital roadmap is what we call it. So kind of where you want to be going from where you are. And you can already there discover potential improvements and like evaluate or prioritize investments. So that's all already built into our application. And it's very, very quick. And actually, Darian, some news is that we're always trying to improve the application, and very, very soon we have an update coming that will make it even faster than it already is. It'll be way faster than it already is. So keep an eye out for that for anyone who is going to be thinking about applying soon.
It's amazing. So
we're looking around 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right now it's you can sign in with your GC key or a sign-in partner, which would be like a bank, right? Or Interact.
Yes.
And because people do that, they have all the government information on that organization, that company. So then they're simply filling out a survey, and that's why you're able to do it so quickly, right? I noticed even a few weeks ago, maybe you were experimenting with this, but approvals happen immediately within minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be tough, if you have to wait like weeks to find out which again is super necessary for some programs. But we're happy to be able to like let you know right away if you're eligible for the program or not. And yeah, GC key, for those who don't know, I'm sure many of the attendees have a GC key or know what GC key is, but it's just like a unique sign-in credential that's super secure, that's specifically for dealing with the government. And then you can also use your major banking information. I will say, if you are using your banking information, make sure you're using your personal banking information to verify your identity here. That's just something, you're not using your business's banking information. You're basically just verifying that you are who you say you are at this stage.
Okay, so that's why when people
That's
use their
why.
business, they get like, we now need to phone you and verify that you're
Yeah.
legit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great advice. Okay. And secondly, you have to be a partner, an owner of the company when you apply.
Or
That
yeah,
also causes
director
issues.
or owner. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're not a member of any of these, so look, Fan City's here, credit union. That's so cool. Coast Capital is even on here. What?
Yeah, we got Desjardins too, which is good. I know
What?
that's a popular one in Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Okay, I need to ask this question, which I think maybe people might be wondering. If they have problems with it or frustrations or confused, where can they go? Where do they go to get support or resources for this program here?
So the best place to go if you are having questions about your application is to call our ISED service center, where you can talk to a real live human being about what you're encountering. I'll paste the number into the chat. So you can call if you have kind of a more basic question. You're not a phone person, which is totally fair. We have an online form that you can also fill out, and it'll just basically send your question to an inbox where it'll be forwarded to whichever team from CDAP is best equipped to answer your questions. So there's also a chat function, an automated chat function if your question's like super straightforward. But those first two options are your best bets.
Amazing. And maybe give kind of any other encouragement you want to leave with businesses that are considering this here in Richmond, and kind of stories that you heard, or maybe kind of what you're seeing with the pickup even right across Canada.
Yeah, so we're seeing a really great pickup. Actually, the figure that I got today is we have around 3,500 grant agreements signed, which is really exciting. Yeah. So we are getting businesses that funding, and it's super exciting. Sorry about that noise coming from my laptop.
I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. It's like a song.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really getting that funding out there. And just like some words of encouragement, we're going to hear from, BDC and Magnet, partners with CDAP. And I just want to say, like, really use the tools offered by the program. It's not just a grant. It's not just a loan. It's not just advisory services. It's not just, it's all of these things put together. So whether you're applying for grow your business online or boost your business technology, we really have like multiple avenues for you to really benefit from the program that aren't just the grant. So if I have like a piece of advice or just like encouragement, it would be to like really use what the program has to offer you, because we have a bunch of cool stuff coming out of CDAP.
It's amazing. And I want to encourage this, because I heard someone, I was in Calgary yesterday, and someone that was there from Ottawa who does some sort of stuff there was like, oh yeah, there's the Rocky Mountain firewall. Not many people from BC apply for federal grant stuff. And I was like, well, I want to show them something different. I want to see everyone from Richmond, every business from Richmond applying for this, because I think that I want to make sure BC businesses and Richmond businesses actually really leverage this and take advantage of it. And Alex, how many spots are available for this grant? You said 2,500 have been leveraged so far. Is there a max that you guys are doing, or is it just the next 3 years until the money runs out?
So we have like billions of dollars. So I would just apply. Like we have a lot of money to give out. We're in the first year right now. So if you're thinking of applying, I wouldn't worry too much about how many spots we have left. You can definitely give it a shot now. We still have a few years left to spend all of our grant money on businesses. So,
which is amazing. And what I love to is once you apply, you don't have to pick your advisor right away. You get 6 months to pick the advisor, and which is, I think, a really cool window. So, but what I encourage everyone to do is apply now, because at the very least, the window now is you get immediate approvals, which I don't think you would change anytime, but it's a really cool time. And maybe you do it over the holidays when you've got literally, and this is the crazy thing, 25 minutes to spare. Because every other grant I've ever heard of takes hours and hours and you don't know if you're going to get it. But in this case, as long as you meet all those requirements, everyone I know has been approved.
Yeah. And if you want to make it super extra fast for yourself, make sure you have your like CRA business number on hand, your like legal business name, head office address, all of that stuff. And if you have, or your GC key, if that's what you're signing in with, if you have all of the like basic information you're going to need to apply, you might not even need to stand up and go find anything. So, make it super easy for yourself and be prepared and just have a little sit, watch an episode of something and get that application done. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for being here. That's great.
Thank you.
Going back to here, this is just kind of what it looks like when you apply. You apply on the site. You then get to, which I think is really cool. You get what's called a DNA test or a digital needs assessment report back. And then you go to a whole marketplace with about 1,000 advisors you can choose from. And it's got all the links to either their LinkedIn or their website. And again, you can choose from cybersecurity, you can choose from IT folks, digital marketing folks. You pick the one you want to work with. You agree on a cost and scope of the digital adoption plan. And then once that is completed, you get up to $15,000 to cover the plan, which I think is really awesome, which is 90% of the plan. And once you have that plan in hand, you can then take that and either, go right to BDC to get that loan, which I highly, highly encourage. And at the same time, you can go and get a youth to help implement the plan, which is really cool. So not only are you prepared to ask for money from BDC, but you actually then have a roadmap, and make sure you ask that from your digital advisors. You've got a roadmap for that youth to do and carry out the work. And then of course, the government wants to know if you had a wonderful time going through the CDAP process, and then you fill out a survey at the end to say, how was your time with us today? Again, I showed you the website. Again, the website is changing over time and making it easier and simpler and less overwhelming. So again, just a reminder, you must be a privately owned business, must be Canadian, must have 1 to 499 full-time employees. So yes, if you have more than 500 employees, I'm so sorry, you're not eligible. And at least 500K of annual revenue in one of the previous 3 tax years. So actually, I met someone recently who was not there yet. So they were like, okay, I'm going to set a timer in 6 months because I've made it for this tax year and I'm going to apply this next year. So that might be you as well and something to consider. So again, some other options in there, cybersecurity, IT. So it could be a CRM assessment, cybersecurity audit, or a digital marketing online presence audit and review. Well, at this point, I'm very excited to introduce you to Kathleen from Magnet to talk about this youth portion, which I think is really, really cool. And one of the neatest parts of this is not only are they helping businesses across Canada, but they're getting youth employed.
Yeah, it's great. And you were asking Alex a few minutes ago about what she liked about this program. And I think what's amazing about it is it's all encompassing. It's not just a grant. It's not just money for youth. It's everything. And that's what I really like about it is you have the opportunity to really grow the business, boost your technology. And Magnet itself is a digital community workforce system. We're the only type in Canada. And we work, our foundation is based on working with industry and delivery partners to hire youth. And for this particular program, you can hire youth that are aged 18 to 30. So it's not, there's a much wider net. And those youth also are helping support the economy with the hiring of this as well, which is, when you think of all of that, that's great news too. And so what we do, so through those steps that you were sharing, Darian, the opportunity to hire youth comes in after the application has been done, after the approval has been done, and the company has met with their digital advisor, and there is an actual roadmap, as you described it, or a plan that has been created. And in that plan is a recommendation usually about team members that need to help support and execute the plan that's been given by the digital advisor. So companies are then encouraged to go to the Magnet site, and the application, you create your profile there. And we actually have team members that are very aware of when companies are on the platform, when they've created their profile. We connect with them and ensure that we make the proper connections and placements at that time as well. And it's really, it's being done seamlessly, and it's done very quickly. And we have a lot of experience in this space. We've done this with other grants, grants before. So it's something that we're very familiar with, and we're able to identify the support that those companies need.
That's incredible. Maybe giving some examples of maybe what some of the youth are doing and what you're seeing them kind of do for businesses at the moment.
So while this is still fairly new, the CDAP program itself, we have experience with youth where through grants, they have started with organizations. We have one particular company, a tech company, that had youth that started with the student work placement program. And what was great about it was they started off as being youth hired through the program. And now today they share their story that they're full-time employees. So, you know, there's an opportunity for people to be able to hire people and keep them as permanent team members. And then the other thing that we talk about too is when you are in a position of having the youth work for you, you then are executing on the plan, you're then eventually generating revenue, and all of this supports that whole financial piece of, you know, growing your business. And it's excellent from that perspective.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And one thing of note too, Magnet also provides some training and support and resources to these youth. So when they come to your business, they've actually got some
exactly. Yeah. And that's, thank you for bringing that up too, Darian. There's a lot of online through the Magnet platform. There's a lot of training that's available through our Youth Boost platform. So there's all kinds of training available, and we support a variety of different communities within the platform as well.
That's amazing. Thank you, Kathleen, for being here and explaining
that
so well. I've got a question for you, Alex, which actually is a great question because I maybe we know the answer already. My company, this is from Victor McKenzie, my company has one person only, just the owner, but the revenue is more than 500K. So they would for sure be approved for stream 1, but stream 2, are they approved, although because they don't have an employee?
Yeah, actually, I was just kind of looking into that to make sure I have the right information. If you're wondering what I'm doing over here. So my understanding is that, and maybe Isabel would be able to weigh in on this, I'm not sure. My understanding is you need to have one employee other than the owner. I don't believe that the owner counts as an employee. I know on the website it's not actually super clear. It doesn't clarify that. So yeah, that's my understanding.
It is mine too, Alex. Okay. So far, that's the info that I have too.
Okay. Cool.
They did change that for stream 1. So for that $2,400, you don't need an employee. So for sure, stream 1, you don't need employees. But I think, Alex, remember that bulb company that I sent you because they didn't get approved, but I think because they only work with contractors. So I think because because they're a seasonal business, they grow bulbs. I don't think, well, they grow, nature grows them, but they facilitate the growth of bulbs. But they don't have any employees on their record. And so I think the federal government did not see them as an entity that employed people. So they got disapproved.
Normally we say FTEs, so like full-time employees or equivalent. So I'm not sure where contract like employees come in that space.
And I think they got
a bit of a nuanced thing. So if you could try applying to Victor, you could try applying, and if you get bounce back, you could just clarify with the kind of like grants team who responds if it counts. But yeah, I don't believe it will. But so for our stream 1 for our Grow Your Business Online, you either have one employee, more than one employee, or at least $30,000 in revenue in the previous tax year. So in the stream 1, you would be eligible. Unfortunately, in stream 2, I don't believe so.
Could he put himself on the payroll for $1 a month?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I don't think so.
That's great. No, that's cool. Thank you so much. I'm gonna jump in. These are great questions, by the way. Thank you for jumping in here. Go here. So time commitment, because you're also like, well, it's so easy and it's free, but how much time commitment is needed? So we're saying 25 to 30 minutes for the application, filling out the survey, 1 hour to onboard with your digital advisor, an hour to provide digital access to assets to the advisor, 2 to 4 hours, probably presentation of findings and assessment from the advisor, 1 to 2 hours on hiring the student, going especially through Magnet's kind of streamlined process that includes the interviewing and the picking. And of course, the BDC application is all online and very streamlined at this place. Over, close to 200 people have already taken advantage of that, which is very exciting. And so could you. Some of the things that we've been doing as a digital advisor, the biggest findings and learning so far, businesses, when they do an SEO audit, realize that, man, there's like 4 or 5 things I could do to my website to make sure I'm ranking, like instead of on page 2, I'm ranking on page 1, like more than a quarter of the way, near the top. Competitor analysis have been incredible as far as insights and kind of nuggets and gems that they can take of things that they could be doing. Facebook and Google ad audits have been really cool in that some people might be doing an okay or a good job with them, and we're able to help give feedback to get them from good to great. E-commerce process audit, we helped the businesses realize that they, a ton of their carts were abandoned, and ways to follow up with people who put stuff in the cart but then never follow through, which we're able to give them about 120% increase in conversions. We ran a social media audit for one. It was they provide the kind of quilting and what's it called, with the needling thing, where you needle things and you crochet things. So they're a supplier of that material. We found that they were spending a ton of time and energy on like Instagram and Pinterest and these other places, but we discovered there was a subreddit on this Reddit social media channel that was all about kind of crocheting and quilting. So we started encouraging them to go post there. We gave them a strategy and kind of a rollout and what that would look like. And from there, they saw a massive spike of sales and conversion and traffic from Reddit, because they didn't realize that there was a whole other social channel that they could be considering. Online opportunity audit and strategy, again, looking at places like that, looking at ways they could be using video and utilizing PR opportunities and kind of digital outreach opportunities has been some of the neatest things we've seen for businesses. BDC time, this is a very exciting part of it. I think one of the most exciting parts, in the sense that you have this strategy, you've got this idea, you've got the map, you've got it, but then it's like you've got this amazing youth that's doing some of it. But if you want to kind of really supercharge it and get some kind of like turbocharged gasoline in your engine, here comes BDC. So Isabel, tell us about the BDC part of all this.
Yes, so I think that's a portion that a lot of people have questions about and they want to know more. So here I am with, I hope, the information that you need to know about that loan. So, so yes, I'm in charge of the BDC of the CDAP program. So I was the product manager when we designed it, and it's important to know that BDC is the only financing partner of the program. So if you hear somebody else providing 0% interest for the CDAP, it's not true. It's the only place you can find it. It's at BDC, so it's really, really important. And so here you can see on the screen the terms and conditions. So basically, I'll summarize it for you. It's a 0% interest loan. The amortization is 5 years plus 12 months of capital postponement, meaning that the first 12 months you won't pay anything. And so altogether, it gives you on 6 years to pay back the loan. What else? There's no security taken, no personal security, no GSA that are required for that loan. Yeah, so basically, how much you can have with that depends on the revenue that you have. And we're going to base our analysis on your last fiscal financial statement. So basically, if you have sales between $500,000 and $5 million, the loan could be between 25 and 50. And if you have more than 5 million of sales, then you can go up to $100,000 for that program.
It's
And
amazing.
it's important. Yes, do you have a question? I don't see you, that's why.
Just that it's amazing. I'm like, this is so cool.
And you know, the interests are going up. So with a 0% interest rate, it's like your mom or dad lending you money. It's a cheap opportunity to have a bit more money to implement your digital plan. And one thing maybe to keep in mind, it's yes, it's the 0% interest loan. You have to go through ISED first, get your plan, but it doesn't mean that because you got approved for the grant and you did your digital plan that you're automatically approved for the BDC loan. You do have, yes, to meet CDAP eligibility requirement, but also BDC's creditworthiness requirement to get the loan. So if the loan is declined, chances are that the credit score or the financial situation of your company doesn't allow to do an extra loan for your company. And you also are not obligated to take the loan. That's an option for you. So basically, when you get your grant, you do your digital plan, you can decide or not to apply for the BTC loan. And the way to apply, it's pretty simple. You're going to receive a nice email from ISED saying, congratulations, you received your grant payment. And here are the information and the link you need to apply for the youth placement, but also for the 0% interest loan at BDC. So you have to click on that link to start your application for that loan. It's the only way to access that. Another question that we receive often is, okay, yes, I have this loan, but what can I use the money for? Basically, the answer is pretty simple. As long as it's described in the digital plan, the expenses is allowed. So there's not, we're going to disburse when once the loan is authorized, we're going to disburse the loan. We're not going to check anything. You're going to receive the money in your bank account. However, at one point, ISED could audit you and ask you to prove what you use the money for. But as long as you use the money to implement the digital plan, and it was included in your roadmap, basically, then it's fine. So it can include IT equipment, monthly software, cost of training your staff. It could be also advisory, more advisory services. It's pretty broad, as I said, as long as it's in the digital plan. And I know that it might look like a good idea to use that money to repay another debt that is maybe more higher in interest. It is not allowed. That money is really out there to help you implement that digital plan and benefit from all the energy and efforts that you would have put before, and have some kind of return on investment doing that. So it's really there to help you digitize your business. And yeah, it only can be used to implement your digital adoption plan. And if you have any more question or you want more information, yes, you can go to the CDAP website, or also we developed that at bdc.ca, like a FAQ on our CDAP page. I'll put the link directly in the chat so you can go there. And if you scroll down the page, you will see the FAQ with all the question and answer that you might have.
So Isabel,
So
I got a question.
that's it.
I love my youth I got from Magnet. They're amazing. They're working out great. I got given $7,300 from ISED to pay for their portion of it, the months working with me. But I want to use that loan to keep them on. I want to keep them retained in my employment. Can I use the loan for that?
Yes, you can use it as long as it's part of the digital plan, basically. And almost all the time, it's going to imply in the plan a use.
Perfect.
So yes.
It's amazing. That is really cool. This is the end of our official portion of this time together. It is 12:40. You sat here for an amazing fire hose of awesomeness of how to access the money, how to find a youth to hire who's incredible, how to get a loan to possibly keep that youth employed and or use it to do some other digital awesomeness. We want to open up to you if there's any other questions. I know some people have been asking throughout, but I see in the chats, the approval process for the EC loan is conditional on getting CDAP approval and a company's creditworthiness. Is there anything an SME should check now to understand their chance of receiving the BDC loan if they get the CDAP approval? Good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So it's a bit tricky because it depends, but basically it's based on your Equifax credit score. So if you know that your credit is really low, chances are you might not go through. But if you have like a good average, we call it the beacon score, it should go through then.
It's awesome. I put a link to Equifax down here.
Yeah,
I think you can pay money and they'll send it to you immediately. Another great question from Winnie. If we already have a digital plan, can we use the loan or grant to enhance our digital SEO? So Winnie, the question would be is, where did you get the digital plan from? Did you get it from an official digital advisor or did you get someone else to make it for you? Might be the question. Unless Alex or Isabel, you have another perspective on this.
I might add something.
Yeah,
There's a
please.
fast track process that is allowed, meaning that if you have a digital plan that was done previously, not through CDAP program, the ISED recognized few program already out there. So if your digital plan has been done through those program or advisor, then yes, you can jump right away to the fast track to get the loan. You won't access the grant, obviously, because it's been done through another program. There's some provincial program out there. So you can, on the ISED web page on the CDAP, there's a yeah, I think you put it there. There's a little box called Fast Track, and you can see the list of the approved program there. And if you have that situation, then yes, you can skip all the digital plan and go straight to collect money. It's like Monopoly.
Yeah. So Winnie, yeah. So as long as your franchisor got it from one of these official groups, amazing. Otherwise, they would need to apply and get it from the official group. And then on that note, Alex, let's say I'm going to use, let's go Church's Chicken. If I own like 2 Church's Chicken locations, can I apply on behalf of my 2 locations and then Sally, who owns the 2 locations in Alberta, apply? Does that work for Stream 2 for Boost?
So if it's like a franchise
Yeah. And I own the 2 under my holdco, like QT3R owns 2 locations and our revenue meets the threshold. My employees meet the threshold.
You know what? I'm not actually sure. I can double check that though and share it. And maybe we could share that with the participants following. I can get an answer. Yeah.
Because that's
I do have the answer, maybe.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, yeah. Thank
you.
Isabel, you're
today.
I love it. Woo!
I worked a lot on the program, as I said. So basically, it depends. If it's the same company and you have 2 different addresses, but it's the same company, you can apply only once. But if you do have 2 different companies, 2 separate entities, then you can apply for each of your entities, but you have to do a digital plan for each of your entities.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, and if I might say my corporation, which is its own entity, has 3 franchises here, and my Sally down the road has 7 franchises, that we can just apply on our own, right? Even though it's the same franchise. Like
yeah,
the same,
but usually the franchise is it's like a person itself. Each franchise is under a corporation. So yes.
Awesome. That's incredible. That's incredible. It'd be interesting if they each hired a different digital advisor and they came back and said, let's see what each of our advisors showed us. Or if the parent company could also probably apply, the franchisor, and they apply, and then they could come up with something that works for, they probably want more, figure out strategies on how to recruit more franchises though. They're probably not as interested in the weed stuff. Our franchisor is American, so we can't apply. Well, Winnie, as long as you, like I have a client that is a franchisee of Church's Chicken. And I use that example because I know that, and he has a Canadian holdco that owns his 7 locations. And so he is applying as a Canadian corporation, even though he owns an American, actually, I don't even think they're American. I think they're like Central American company. So but he has a holdco that just owns the rights to them in the Lower Mainland. If that makes sense. So his holdco is the corporation has like 60 employees and they meet the revenue threshold. So that corporation is the one who applied, which is great, which is neat about the program. They don't, they actually are pro franchise, which I think is really cool because there's a lot of companies and organizations and people that prefer to buy a franchise instead of creating a company from scratch, which I think is really cool. And why shouldn't they benefit from this amazing program? Winnie, what is your franchise, by the way? Do you want to share? Because that'd be cool. And we should all go to it in Richmond, maybe. Here's your chance to promote it. Minuteman Press. Nice. That's a great company. Look at Minuteman Press. If anyone has any printing needs in their life, Winnie, Minuteman Press, right in Richmond. And I think here's my thing about franchises. I don't think people realize I'm in Fort Langley and people are all about like local and like just shop local and, you know, buy unique places there. But like the people that own the Subway are like this cool family, but people are like, boycott Subway because they're a large corporation. But I was like, no, but it's owned by this really amazing, sweet family. They just happen to buy a Subway franchise. That was what they wanted to do. And I was like, eat lots of Subway, eat fresh because it's amazing. And so I think people are, you know, misconstrued about how it works. Like there's real people behind these brands that may appear huge, but it's real people behind it. Okay, this is from Victor. Victor, I love how engaged you are. My friend said that they got a $100K loan from BDC already. Can he apply for another loan from BDC for the CDAP program? Great question, Isabel.
Yeah, it depends. They cannot apply for a second 0% interest loan, but they can apply for anything at BDC. I know that, let's say you have to change your CRM. It's expensive. Most of the time, $100,000 won't be enough. And we do have other solutions to help finance the difference. So yes, it's doable. Only contact your account manager and they will be happy to provide you some guidance on how to do that.
Great question. But you cannot take your friend cannot take the interest-free loan to pay off his whatever interest loan he has as well. But he can use it, or she can use it for doing really awesome stuff digitally, like hiring a magnet student for the entire year to fulfill what they got from their awesome digital advisor in the plan and strategy.
Exactly.
Shana, how are we doing over there? How are you feeling? You are a lovely host, Richmond Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for hosting this. Thank you for providing a very practical meat and potatoes webinar for everyone today.
You guys are killing it. And I have to say, I really love the vibe here because sometimes webinars can really feel like you're speaking into the void when we don't see our attendees' faces. And I just appreciate Darian, Alex, Isabel, Kathleen, all of you so much. This has been very conversational and very informative.
Good. Well, Wendy, maybe Wendy or Reynold, you might have a question, or Eric or Chen, Rodrigo, Rosa, maybe you might have a question. If not, we're thankful you came. Hopefully you okay. I've seen this happen once before. Someone wrote me after the session. I haven't told you this, Alex. Someone actually filled out the application during the webinar and got approved by the end of the webinar.
What?
So
That's
yeah,
great.
It was hilarious. They wrote me, they're like, just so you know, I filled it out, and I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, you know, it's an easy process when literally in the time of an educational webinar they got approved. So Wendy Lee.
Wow.
So glad that you are feeling encouraged today. So again, fill it out, be shocked and amazed at how the federal government is making your life easier and get some of your tax money back, which is great. Rodrigo,
that is fantastic multitasking. Hey, filling it out.
But I think they were
webinar.
Well, because it's literally it's you putting your GC key and then you just fill out a survey being like, how digitally literate are you? And you're like, pretty literate. Do you know how to change the clock on your VCR? Not really. Like those kind of questions. They're way better than that, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I think most of us would have to dig out our VCRs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Shana, thank you for hosting us.
Thank
Isabel,
you.
Alex, Kathleen, a pleasure as always.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you to our members for joining us today. This webinar is also going to be hosted online on our digital webinar library. So if there's something you missed and you need to go back to it, that'll be up later this week, probably before the end of the day tomorrow. I know I learned something, and I hope all of you did too. And of course, Darien is also a member of the Richmond Chamber of Commerce, as is the BDC. So please reach out to our local BDC reps or to Darien if you have any questions following this. Before we part for the day, I just want to let everyone know about our next upcoming event. Next Thursday, the Richmond Chamber of Commerce is hosting our largest event of the year, the Business Excellence Awards. It celebrates 30 businesses in Richmond across all sectors in 10 categories. We are very nearly sold out, but a few tickets are still available. So if you'd like to come, I'm going to throw that link in the chat right now. And I also have a favor to ask of all of you. I know that homework is never something that we want to walk away with, but the Richmond Chamber is currently conducting our annual survey of the big issues and policies that are impacting your business. While it is a very important survey, it is also very brief. So I'm hoping you can each take just 10 minutes to fill it out. Let us know what the big issues are that are affecting you as an employer right now. And skip any questions that aren't relevant. That is absolutely fine, but it makes a huge difference to the effectiveness of our policy development. So really appreciate you all, and very much appreciate.
Gina, one question for you. Have you discovered Boy with a Knife yet for lunch?
Boy with a Knife is wonderful. Not yet a chamber member, but
no.
Very close to our office too.
But we can talk about them, even though they're not a member. Okay, how good is those lunches, right?
The rice bowl is my favorite with the tofu.
It's one of my favorite things when I'm in Richmond. I always Boy with a Knife. It's weird. It's like it's a warehouse, and you're kind of scared maybe, or like, am I here to buy something out of the back of a warehouse? No, it is one of the most glorious, beautiful lunch spots in Richmond. And maybe they'll become a member soon enough. But
I would love that. And yeah, we're so lucky in Richmond. There are a million little amazing restaurants just in every corner here.
Okay, here's a good question. Victor comes back at it again with another question. Back at it again, Victor. Where can you see the advisor list, Alex? I've not even seen this list, to be honest. I think it's hidden. Is it not hidden?
Yeah, so you're not able to just kind of like see our just like privacy reasons and stuff. You're not able to see like all of the advisors that work with us. But if you like apply to the program and receive the grant and receive what I'm trying to say is you don't receive the grant right away, but you know what I'm saying? If you apply to the program and you're eligible, you'll be able to like choose from advisors. So you can kind of explore what's available then. Yeah.
I had someone apply, and because I've never actually seen my listing in there. And so I had them take a screenshot. So they're like, this is how you appear in the marketplace, because I've not even seen it, Victor. So yes, once you're approved, you get access to the really cool. It's like a secret shopping center where like you need a code word to get in. Like one of those speakeasies. Yeah. It's very cool. Also, fun fact on that note, in Vancouver, there's a really cool speakeasy where it looks like an accounting office.
I walked by that.
Yes, but then you go in and the door opens into one of the most beautiful cocktail bars in Vancouver.
Okay, I was wondering if it was worth it. I was confused when I saw 20 people lined up outside of what looked like an office on
an accounting office. Yeah.
Now we know why.
Yeah, and there's a really good like kind of like smoked meat, like kind of like a barbecue place right next door as well. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
No, you're on top of it with all the recommendations, Darien.
That's what this webinar is for, right? If you're trying to be helpful. Victor, I'm a member, so you can look up my listing there. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Shayna. My listing is there. Reach out anytime, and really hope you take advantage of all three of these amazing aspects: Digital Advisor, Magnet Youth, and BDC Loan.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
And have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.